Hi there and welcome. Dawn Stenslamenti on The Dawn Show. We are live and we are local. If you want to call in, here's the number on your screen, 866-472-8868. We'll give you that number over and over during the broadcast. We want to talk about something. This is an awareness issue that could save your life or the life of somebody you know. There's the number if you want to call. We're talking about 68-year-old famous biggity big actor Michael Douglas coming out and saying, well, I shouldn't have smoked and I shouldn't have drank and I have throat cancer, but actually, yeah, he says, and we have the statement, he says, without getting too specific, this particular cancer is caused by something called HPV, which actually comes about from cunnilingus. Well, I don't know if he could have gotten more specific than that, but a lot of people are talking about this. It's controversial, but many say, you know what, this is a good thing because we're all talking about it. We want to welcome to the Dawn Show our own Neil Zorn from the Delco Times, who's also a commentator
Hello.
About all things that are entertainment, right?
Right, exactly.
Good to have you here.
If it's live or it's on television, I'll talk about it. It's good to be here.
And then on the phone, we have Dr. Rob Danoff from ARIA Health. Dr. Rob, are you there?
Hi, good to be here with you guys.
Well, it's good to have you here, and we really want to talk about HPV. First of all, what is this cancer, and are you glad that people are talking about Michael Douglas saying that due to oral gratification, he got HPV and has throat cancer? What was your reaction to that, Dr. Rob, when you heard that?
Well, you know, I'm actually glad that it was brought up because genital human papillomavirus, which is known as HPV, it's the most common sexually transmitted virus in our country at this time, and probably more than half of sexually active men and women are infected at some point in their lives, but most times it goes away on its own. However, HPV is or can cause cervical cancer in women, and one of the things we're seeing now is that there's been an increase in cases of oropharyngeal cancer, or cancer of the back of the throat, in men. And they do know that there is a correlation between HPV and cervical cancer in women and HPV and oropharyngeal cancer in men and women. So it's good that this is brought up because we need to try to protect ourselves and be aware of it.
And Dr. Rob, we're showing on the screen now, according to the CDC, our government, in fact, there's no general HPV test for men or women to check one's overall HPV status, quote unquote. But we do know about, and I'll let you read the rest for our viewers, but in other words, we do know that about 5-6 years ago, there was a bit of a controversy when in fact a vaccine came out. And people said, hey, you can be immunized against this cancer, which is such a common cancer. However, you have to be immunized essentially as a child before you become sexually active. And a lot of people, first of all, were only talking about their daughters, not their sons. And second of all, a lot of parents said, whoa, I'm encouraging my preteen to become sexually active. You say what, Dr. Rob?
Well, my whole thing is when I talk to parents is I understand, but I say we're not just vaccinating your daughter and or at this point your son for right now. And it's not going to encourage them to have sex because if they do it, they're going to do it anyway. But we're talking about possibly protecting them from a type of cancer for their lives. And I said they may be 18 or 19 and beyond, living in the home. And if you get them the vaccine now, this can really help them and decrease their risk, especially women, for cervical cancer, and for guys possibly for oropharyngeal cancer. So it's very important, and it's really, it can prevent, so much hardship later on, and it's very well tolerated.
Well, I want to get Neil involved in the conversation, obviously, Dr. Rob, because Neil, what do you think as far as, movies, communication, media, and the influence within movies and communication on this issue?
Well, there are two things. One thing is Michael Douglas is a star. Stars talk about everything. They talk about politics, and you wonder what their expertise is. But this is something in his actual life. And for him to bring it out, if you or I or the doctor talk about it, that's one thing because the doctor's a medical person. I'm a reporter, you're a reporter. But when a celebrity talks about it, people listen. People really take really know what HPV is now. They might not have known before, and Dr. Danoff is doing a great, Dr. Robb is doing a great job telling about it. We know about it, but the public needs to hear more about it and needs to know about this vaccine. So when somebody from Michael Douglas's point of view comes out and talks about it, I mean, I don't know what Catherine Zeta-Jones thought about it.
Well, I think that's what everybody
Yeah,
says.
right.
Oh, as if we know these people, which we
Right.
don't, but we say, oh, what's Catherine
Exactly.
Zeta-Jones saying?
Oh, sure. You can hear her when she comes home saying, you know what you're implying about me, don't you?
But
because,
you know
because
what?
there's no
It's
test.
really, really important, too, that I want to make a point, and I'm glad that this came out now, is because, there's cancer from HPV. It can take decades from the time of infection for this type of cancer to develop. And people can get cancer of the vagina, the vulva, the anus, the penis, the head and neck, as well as, of the throat. So that's why this vaccine is so important. There is a delay. You may not even know that you're going to have it. Now, most people don't, but why not try to prevent it if you can?
So that's something, the vaccine is something that you highly recommend, Dr. Robb.
I do, because it's very well tolerated. And again, I just say to people, if you can prevent a type of cancer, why not do it? And so because it's tolerated so well, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention really recommends this vaccine, for all girls, recommended at age 11 or 12 and, up to age 26, and now males 13 through age 21 or even up to 26 in certain circumstances. So it's very important to consider and to be aware of.
We want people to continue. If you want to call in, our conversation continues with Dr. Robb and Neil Zorin when the Dawn Show continues right after this.